So you want to learn how to juggle. Juggling is a fun skill that will improve your hand-eye coordination, rhythm, spatial awareness, and impress your friends. I love juggling because no matter how much time you put into it, there's always more to master. You can juggle alone or with friends, inside or out. It's a great way to clear your mind and focus on a tactile thing in the moment. Anyone can learn how to juggle, and it's really clear when you succeed and learn a new skill. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to juggle a 3-ball Cascade, a 2-ball fountain, and a series of 1 and 2 ball drills to support those skills. Learning how to juggle is a lot like learning other complex activities such as playing a musical instrument or drawing. It takes time and focus to progress. Don't worry if you don't get skills on your first try. When you see other people juggling, it looks a lot like they're throwing objects into the air and catching them repeatedly, but that's not the whole picture. When you are learning, usually there's a fair amount of throwing objects in the air and watching them hit the floor. Dropping your objects is part of juggling. Think about dropping as a reminder that there is still more to learn, and try and enjoy the challenge. If you can adjust your mindset in this way, then juggling will be a more satisfying activity and you will learn faster. If you expect to succeed on your first few tries, you will probably end up being discouraged and frustrated. Before we begin to juggle, it is important to know what to juggle with. You may have seen people juggling a variety of items. The basic 3 juggling props are balls, rings, and clubs. People juggle all sorts of objects like hula hoops, knives, and torches, but most objects fit into these fundamental categories. Juggling balls are the easiest props to learn with, and once you've mastered skills with balls, it's relatively quick to transfer those skills into other objects. We will be focusing on juggling balls in this course. There are many types of balls that you can find online or make at home. Common ball types include beanbags, Russian balls, which are filled with millet, sand, or silicone. I recommend starting with a decent quality beanbag variety like I'm juggling in this video. These feel good in your hands and have a nice weight. They don't roll away like other balls. You can also make juggling balls at home with balloons, some rice, and a few sandwich bags. If you're interested in doing that, check out our tutorial on how to make juggling balls. I would not recommend using spherical objects that weigh very little, such as tennis balls or stress balls, or awkwardly heavy like a lacrosse ball. It's totally possible to juggle these items, but they'll be more challenging to learn with. When juggling, you want to have generally good posture. I like to stand with my feet hip distance apart. Some people prefer to stand with their feet shoulder width apart. I don't think it matters too much, but don't let your stance get too wide because it usually also makes you slouch. Relax your shoulders, engage your core, and make sure your head is atop your body. In general, you want to keep your elbows by your sides and broaden your shoulders just a little bit. Another important thing is how you breathe. Make sure it's happening. Holding your breath doesn't make you a better juggler. Now that you are in a good position, pick up one ball and play with it for a few moments. Throw it around to get comfortable tossing and catching it. Notice the texture and the weight of your object. Don't worry about how you're doing this, just enjoy playing with the ball. After that, you're going to practice your basic toss. Toss the ball from one hand to the other, making your throws just above eye level. This is the foundation of many juggling patterns. The rhythm of this exercise should feel easy and relaxed. The goal here is to make your tosses perfect so that you don't have to think about the catch. Take your time to hone your aim so that the ball lands right where you want it every time. Repeat this at least 10 times on each side before you move on. Do your best to keep your throws from going forward or backward. For the vast majority of patterns, your throws should be moving through a narrow corridor like this. If your throws start to migrate forward or backward, then you will have to twist your body to make the catches, and it will lead to out-of-control juggling. Next, practice vertical throws catching the ball in the same hand. Once again, try and throw the ball just above eye level every time. Do your best to make the object move through a vertical column during its flight. Repeat this 10 times and switch to your other hand. The last one-ball drill we will practice is called a one-ball W. Start by doing a basic toss, then a vertical throw, then a basic toss, and another vertical throw. Practice this until you can do the whole sequence 5 times in a row without dropping. Once you've worked through these drills, you're ready to pick up another ball. The first thing to practice with 2 balls are syncopated vertical tosses. The purpose of this drill is to improve your rhythm when alternating throws with each hand. Try to throw the balls the same height every time. Do this 10 times on each side before you move on. Next, practice synchronized vertical tosses. This drill will increase the precision of each hand. Try and throw the balls the exact same amount every time. Do this 10 times on each side before you move on. After that, practice synchronized basic tosses. Pick one hand that always throws the ball just a little bit higher than the other. This drill will prepare you to make 2 good basic tosses for the next drill. After 10 repetitions, switch which hand is making the high throws. Next is syncopated basic tosses. This is the foundation of 3-ball juggling. Make 1 basic toss, then when the ball is at its high point, make a toss with your other hand. Alternate which hand starts every time. The rhythm of this drill is toss, toss, catch, catch. Aim your throws so that the highest point is just above your opposite shoulder. Try and make your throws precise so that their apex lands in the same place every time. Repeat this 20 times before you move on. This is the first thing that students often struggle with. Most people's instinct is to throw the first object into the air, then hand off the second object, or dramatically underpower their toss. This is a fundamental fault that needs to be corrected to move on to 3 balls. If you notice you are doing it, but can't change it, the things you can do are alternate which hand throws first, and do a couple of synchronized basic tosses to recalibrate. After that, you will practice the 2-ball collect drill. Anytime that you are juggling 3 or more objects, you will start and end with 2 objects in one hand. When you catch all of the objects that you are juggling, it is called collecting. To do this drill, hold one ball with your thumb, index, and middle fingers. Hold the other with your pinky and ring fingers. A 3-ball cascade is the most fundamental juggling pattern. To do it, you alternate basic tosses from one hand to the other, throwing each ball just under the previous ball. To learn it, we will start by making 3 throws and no catches. Start with holding 2 balls in your dominant hand and 1 in your non-dominant hand. Then make 3 basic tosses alternating dominant, non-dominant, dominant. Don't try to catch any of your objects, but make sure that all of them are catchable. Every toss should be aimed to land right where you want it. Do this 5 times before you move on. Once again, try to keep your throws just moving left to right without much, if any, forward and back. After that drill looks good, make 3 throws and catch the last ball only. Focus on having great tosses and stay relaxed. Repeat this at least 5 times before you move on. If you notice that the quality of your throws goes down when you add the catch, slow down your tempo until every toss looks good. The next step is to make 3 throws and 2 catches. The goal is to make your 3 tosses in a smooth rhythm. Let the first ball fall and catch the next 2. You've already practiced the second part when you did the 2-ball syncopated basic toss. If you're having a hard time, add a pause between your first throw and the next 2. Repeat this drill until you can do it a few times in a row without messing up. Now you are ready to do 3 throws and 3 catches. Remember that not all of your balls need to be in the air at the same time. Just because you're catching all three doesn't mean any of your tosses should change. Repeat this drill until you can do it at least 5 times in a row without dropping. Once you can make 3 throws and 3 catches, you've done most of the hard work. The next step is to add a 4th throw and catch, then a 5th, then a 6th. With any pattern that you can juggle, if you can make twice as many catches as objects that you are juggling, we call it qualifying for the pattern. You want to always strive to control your patterns. Try your best not to move your feet when learning. It's easy to get attached to the desire to succeed and start running around to make your catches. This looks bad and stunts the ability to master a skill. Be honest with yourself at how many catches are reasonable and try to collect when you hit that goal. When you get consistent, strive for a higher number of catches. This is a strategy to learn any juggling pattern. Eventually you will be able to make 10, then 20, then 50, then countless catches when juggling a 3-ball cascade. The most common issue I see is when students throw their objects away from their body. When this happens, they end up walking around chasing their pattern and lose control. This can happen if your wrist is too relaxed or if you are rushing and release your throws too early. The solution to this issue is to stand in front of a wall as you work on your drills. If any of your balls hit the wall, collect and start over. Repeat this until you can do the drill without hitting the wall, and then try it again standing away from the wall. The next most common thing I see is when students throw with their shoulders and reach up to make their catches. This is awkward and gives you less time to make your throws and catches. Focus on keeping your shoulders relaxed and your elbows by your side. Another thing that happens a lot is when students do whatever it takes to keep their object from hitting the floor. This tends to make all of your movements reactions to the situation you are dealing with. If you're out of control, stop and try again. The second pattern I recommend everyone learns is the 2-ball fountain. A 2-ball fountain is where you juggle 2 objects in one hand by making throws from the inside of your body to the outside, throwing one object when the other one is at the high point of its flight. The process for learning this pattern is the same as the 3-ball cascade. You start by throwing your 2 objects and dropping both of them. Once you are clear they both landed in a good place, catch the second throw. When you have success with that, catch both throws. Do this until it is consistent, then incrementally add a 3rd, then a 4th throw. If you can make your goal 3 times in a row without dropping, go for a higher number. This is a pattern you get the pleasure of learning twice. Don't neglect your non-dominant hand. It's important to learn this pattern evenly on both sides for many more advanced juggling patterns. The process is exactly the same as before, so get right in there and juggle on both sides. Often I see students trying to juggle their 2-ball fountain by throwing their objects toward themselves instead of from the inside to the outside. This is hard to do, doesn't look as good, and doesn't lead to any more advanced patterns. So don't make your life hard and throw from the inside to the outside. Alright folks, that's it for this tutorial. We hope that it helps you master your first juggling patterns. You can find other tutorials and more on our Patreon page and by subscribing to our YouTube channel, as well as on our website popupmovement.com and on Instagram and Facebook @popupmovement. See you soon!